This guy, you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, this douchebag. He's been kicking your ass now for what? Hours? Days? Weeks? Yeah, it's a nightmare you can't wake up from. You've tried everything, but everything isn't good enough. And the last thing anyone needs is some jerk pompously telling you, "Get good, bro!" So I asked myself, how would the great Miyazaki go about beating this boss of bosses? I'm pretty sure he's done this. Well, think no longer, my friends, because we know exactly how Miyazaki would go about beating this boss. In an interview, he once said this: "I absolutely suck at video games, so my approach or playstyle was to use everything I have at my disposal, all the assistance, every scrap of aid that the game offers, and also all the knowledge that I have as the architect of the game." Did you all hear that? The genius behind this game uses all the assistance, every scrap of aid the game offers. That's exactly how I play Elden Ring, which is why my motto has always been, if you can't get gooder, get smarter. So stop whatever you were doing before against this asshole, and instead do this. Get your hands on the lance, one of the best spears in the game. Jack it up to plus 25. Infuse it with the Ice Spear Ash of War. You can beat the entire game and DLC with this weapon and Ash of War. Next, you'll want a Sacred Seal, doesn't really matter which one, and memorize the Scarlet Aeonia incantation. Its rotten flower power will slowly suck the life out of the big guy, while you snipe away with the Ice Spear. Get your hands on the best shield you can possibly wield, and apply the No-Skill Ash of War to it. This way you can use the lance's L2 skill, without first having to two-hand it. I'd recommend getting the Rakshasa armor set. It offers decent protection. And each part offers a 2% increase in attack power, for a total of 8% more punch. Slap on these talismans. There are others you can use as well, but I found these the most useful. Mix this potion. Their effects will last a whole 3 minutes, which should be enough time to put the freaky monster to sleep if everything falls into place. You will also want to bring these healing and buffing incantations along as well, especially the healing ones. Anything that boosts stamina regeneration. And also some boiled crab for extra protection. You have to make sure Sir Ansbach's questline is completed to summon into fight. He's actually very helpful, extremely tough and aggressive, can heal himself at least twice before he runs out of his own mana, and he deals bleed damage. And yes, you'll want to bring along the Mimic. You will be splitting your boss killing duties. You will impale him with frosty ice spears as the Mimic will slowly inject the rot. The flower unfolds. That's just a beautiful sight. I never get tired of it. And Sir Ansbach will cut him to pieces with his Reaper. You are now a trio of superheroes. All right then, let's get right to the action. Do whatever buffs you need to do, then make sure that when you traverse the mist, you have Scarlet Aeonia selected, a Sacred Seal in hand, the Mimic ready to launch, and shield in hand. The Mimic will start fighting with whatever setup you have selected when he spawns. As soon as the Mimic spawns, you switch over to your lance. Let the Mimic lay down the rot and you just concentrate on sniping with the Ice Spear. As soon as you see an opening, let him have it. You will also want to keep the Mimic and Sir Ansbach between you and the boss at all times if possible. The more he concentrates on Ansbach or the Mimic or both of them, the more time you can exploit his carelessness. This is what Miyazaki means when he says use everything the game has to offer. I'm throwing the kitchen sink at this fight. Now watch as the Mimic does his thing with the Scarlet Aeonia. It's a thing of beauty. There goes the rot meter ticking away. As you watch from a safe distance, like the referee in the boxing ring, you can smash him with ice spears as the other two guys get all up in his shit. He's a sitting duck for 2 quick strikes of the ice spear. You'll want to manage your stamina bar to survive his vicious onslaught of attacks. You should be able to withstand his maniacal spurts without too much damage. And as he's wailing on you, the Mimic and Sir Ansbach take advantage. As you can see here, the rot was able to bring him to second phase pretty quickly. It's the same strategy in the second phase. If the game allowed me to pull a laser gun out of my ass, or if the game had a spell that made me 50 feet tall, you better believe I'd use those tricks as well. And so would Miyazaki. you will see the mimic heal himself. He was almost dead there, and he keeps finding the openings to lay down the rot. The three of us are all over this guy like stink on shit. Did you see the way my shield just sucked up that brutal beatdown? Shields are useful, my friend. Don't be shy to use them. The mimic just keeps pouring the rot on like there's no tomorrow. The big guy just walks right into it. Another advantage of having 2 extra bodies in this fight is that this boss will probably grab one and put them in that sick sleeper hold. As soon as he releases his victim, he's wide open for attack. We take full advantage to deliver some ass-whipping, and the mimic inflicts more power rottage. Elden Ring is a thinking man's game. It requires planning, anticipation, practice, preparation, and discipline. This fight feels real because of all the thought and planning that went into it. You can see my character watching, probing, positioning himself as the action unfolds. I freaking love this game. Look at him. He's all over the place. Doesn't know who to chase after next. He's completely overwhelmed. He's like, whoa, these guys are just too damned good. And we're more than good, baby. We're awesome. I love the way the mimic knows when it's time to heal. And you can see that Sir Ansbach reached for some red juice, but he's all out. So I now have to keep an eye on his health bar and keep him alive as long as I can. And I've got plenty of flasks myself, so I'm feeling pretty good about this match. With this build, these weapons, and these awesome tag team partners, this bully just loses his powers of intimidation. Look at that. Nothing. I feel like the Rock of Gibraltar, and just before he blasts off into outer space, the mimic lands a direct hit of rot on him. When he returns back to Earth, the rot meter is already running. He's a dead man walking. All right, it's time to finish this guy off. The key now is not to get greedy or overconfident or careless. Even though his demise is imminent, he can still fool you into committing a stupid mistake. His attacks just bounce right off me. I've got plenty of red juice, stamina's looking good. I'm going toe-to-toe with this guy, and you can too. Silly fool. Jumps right into the cloud of rot. I can't tell you how great it feels managing this riot of a fight and trying to outlast this menace. I could have ended it right there if I were just a few feet closer, but that just makes the fight more interesting. He's literally one more hit away from defeat. It's only a question of which of us 3 bad boys will deliver the final, fatal, victorious blow. And it looks like the mimic gets the last rotten word in this exciting fight. And that's what I call playing smarter. This 3-pronged attack is very successful. By utilizing rot, frost, and bleed to maximum effect, your odds of finally beating this most difficult of bosses become significantly easier. Of course, you can continue banging your head against the wall trying to take him down solo, or failing over and over doing whatever you've been doing, but give yourself a break. Give this strategy a shot. It triples your chances for victory, and it makes for a far more interesting and fun fight. Thanks for your support. Don't forget to subscribe or comment below if so inclined. And remember, if you can't get gooder, get smarter. Yeah, it sounds silly, but way better than get good, bro.